So here we are. Dead by Daylight is about to reach its 10th year. I'll be completely honest with you, it's a miracle that this game has survived this long, and Behaviour themselves have likened its success to lightning in a bottle. The developers have set their sights on another 10 years ahead, but the question is DBD capable of surviving that long? There is no doubt that this game is the king of asymmetrical horror. With each license they obtain, it only attracts a bigger audience, and the recent addition of Jason being the final piece of the puzzle for the big iconic horror characters. Jason is the original slasher, the main inspiration behind the entire game itself, and yet a lot of us yearn for more in more ways than one. We haven't seen if Behaviour have anything else up their sleeves yet with the anniversary livestream coming soon, but we can be sure that there is more collaborations coming in the future. You have to wonder though, is this a sustainable business practice? How many more times can we point and say, look, it's that guy from that thing I like, before it starts to become stale? If we're being completely real, DBD's core gameplay can become tiring, repetitive, and little room for variation once you start to become familiar with it. But that's not to say the game at its heart isn't enjoyable, because it is. It's just plagued with many issues that are on the cards for a fix, and we're left wondering how long we must wait before they're actually addressed. Today we'll be discussing 3 talking points that should be the top of Behaviour's to-do list if they wish to keep the longevity they strive for, at least in my opinion. Most of us that have played this game for a long time will have forgotten just how terrible the in-game tutorial for DBD really is. It's hot garbage, it's just so outdated and primitive, it struggles to really grasp the modern scope of the game, yet for new players its bare bones approach is simply not enough to help them understand all the tiny moving parts that help this game function as it does, and that's something that really needs to be addressed. Coming in as a new player can feel quite overwhelming, I imagine, and for some quite off-putting. As simple as the premise of this game is, it requires a lot of knowledge to fully grasp what is happening at all times. With over 300 perks to wrap your head around, 40 something killers with unique powers and counters, and having to figure out map layouts and juggle the macro and macro gameplay elements, it's a lot to take in. The tutorial does not do enough to help you figure out the complexities this game requires in order for you to really comprehend what's going on. Now to their credit, Behaviour have added a tab that shows what each individual killer does, but even that is somewhat basic. By design, this game really is trial and error, but that error can lead to frustration and not returning back to the game at all. So a complete rework of the tutorial system is what I propose, with the ability to play a bot with the killer of your choice to really learn how to play against them. And we know that Behaviour can add more killer bots because of 2v8 where people disconnect and it replaces them with a bot, so this is clearly something that is in their hands that they are capable of doing. If anything, it takes away a lot of pressure of going into a real match and not being good straight away, or facing a killer for the first time and having no idea what to do. Better still, if people are struggling going against a certain killer, it gives them the liberty to practice facing them instead of crying and DCing because they haven't learned the counterplay, like a lot of survivors do. Every killer can be countered in some way, and it's up to an updated tutorial system to teach you this. I remember when I first started playing and I absolutely hated going against Wraith. I felt like it was always guaranteed a free hit when working on a gen, and it frustrated me. But then I just got good. I became more vigilant, I looked around for him while on a generator, made a plan of the next pallet window I was going to go to before he could hit me, and now Wraith is one of my favourites to go against. These are things that can be told to survivors in custom matches to help them learn. And I know that there are tips in loading screens, but to be honest, who's really reading that shit? And I want to make it clear, I'm not asking for hand holding, but just a point in the right direction. Because this tutorial tells you to insta-save and hide in lockers, and it's just not going to help anybody in a real game. With each update, the player count fluctuates, with people leaving the game because they're sick of it, and people starting the game for the first time because their friend told them to start playing. I think with a rework to the tutorial system, it can help player retention, take the strain off actual matches, and allow people to play at their own pace, hoping to keep people coming back to the game. Let me know what you'd like to see in the tutorial too. Survivors and killers alike will always complain about the balance of this game until it draws its last breath, and there's no easy way to put it, but you simply cannot balance a game like Dead by Daylight. It's an impossible task. There are far too many variables that happen in each match for that to be a reality, and that's the doomer pill that some people here are going to find really hard to swallow. But there are ways to negate the imbalance. For many years this game has been on a pendulum, swinging back and forth between metas and what roles hold the most power, and ultimately there has been one single reason for this battle of attrition, and that is perks. You only have to look at the most recent example of the fast track meta that took this game hostage for several weeks. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Killer perks like Ruin and Call of Brine were the defining meta for their fall from grace. Sprint Burst to this day still remains the best exhaustion perk in the game. Pain Res and DMS have been the dominant killer perk meta for as long as I can remember. With certain number tweaks and giving love to perks that have fallen under the radar, Behaviour can help change a stale meta, and even more so now we have the introduction of diminishing returns. It wasn't too long ago that they changed and tweaked a bunch of perks, and it was quite well received, and there's no reason why they can't do that again. Unfortunately, diminishing returns doesn't do anything to fix how busted Vigil still is, which even as a survivor main, I can attest that it still needs further nerfs. Another thing that I think needs to be addressed is the neglect that is given from the feedback from the PTB. This is how we ended up with people complaining about fast track for weeks, and rightly so. Unfortunately, if you've been playing this game for any length of time, this is nothing new. There's been plenty of other decisions that were made in the PTB that made it to live, and our latest subject, the new survivor perk cross-examination, is going to be absolutely busted when it drops at the end of the month. I just hope for their sake that Behaviour listen to feedback and nerf it before it goes live, so we don't have to wait 3 weeks for a hotfix just for it to become nerfed. It's simply not good enough. It shouldn't take this long to get these things looked at and changed, as it's your consumers that quite literally pay the price. Balancing is impossible, but preventative measures are not. If Behaviour can eventually get round to listening to its community on the right changes to make to perks to not only keep the game feeling fresh, but to help make a healthier game, because in its current state, people are going to keep using the same perks until there's a real shake-up to the meta.
Meta this, meta that. Have you ever met a fucking girl before?
No.
Hey Behaviour, remember that health update you promised us? Is the health update in the room with us? Don't worry guys, I'm going against killers who live in the Bermuda Triangle, but at least I can make my survivors' auras the same colour as my... Seriously though, if there's one thing that really drives me up the wall, it's this game's matchmaking system. Honestly, I'm tired of talking about it. I just want them to do something. It's the sole reason Behaviour will never see my wallet again. Random Behaviour employee, if by some miracle you're listening to this bozo with less than 200 subscribers, please just fix the servers. It's just so bad, man. Tell me why my opponent is a blight from the Pyrenees Mountains and my teammates are baby Dwights and Megs that have just installed the game. Now obviously this isn't always the case, but negativity bias does tend to stick in your mind quite a bit. Behaviour, you are not a small indie company anymore. You can afford to buy some servers from the profits from those Sable Guna skins and provide some stability to your game servers, and from other countries too. DBD for me is a game solely reliant on a good connection in order to have a decent gaming experience, and at least it's one less thing for me to blame when I do some trash pathing and go down in 10 seconds. All the other health updates to the HUD, bridging the gap between solo queue and Swifts, the rework to perk descriptions, all very good changes, but we cannot just ignore the gigantic elephants in the room. MMR brackets and bad ping are the two main reasons I decided to come off the game for the night, and I imagine it's the same for many others too. So if you fix these two major problems, I can guarantee you will see higher player attention and more positive gaming experiences overall. So that leads us to the end of the video. What would you like to see this game bring in the next 10 years? Is it a horror IP you love? Perk ideas? A new game mode? Please leave your ideas in the comments below and start a discussion. That's what this channel is all about. If you enjoyed the vid, consider giving it a like as it helps spread the message. I've got more long form content in the future coming up, so if you don't want to miss it, maybe consider giving us a sub. Alright guys, take care, have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.